You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 313. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, author of How to Get On Podcasts, the podcast matchmaker, and CEO and founder of the MLG Collective. I'm excited to share the stories and life lessons of changemakers and authors with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac. Last week, I was talking to Anna Mitchell, the author, and she said something about not caring. And oftentimes we hear that as women, especially, we hit this certain point and we stop caring. We have zero fucks to give, nothing left to really care about what other people think or say or do. And it got me thinking that I don't believe that. I don't believe that suddenly we don't care. And so I wanted to give you a little rant on why I believe that and what's behind it. So when I was in my, I'd say mid to late 30s, it was after having kids, I say that I found my voice. I figured out what I wanted to do. I just had this sense of self. And oftentimes it's, well, I don't care anymore. If you don't like my content, you'll hear, someone say, then don't follow me. I don't care. But it's not that we don't care. I think that it's a pivotal moment in which we have figured out what we do care about. It's not giving zero Fs anymore. It's that we truly know what we want. It's that we've come into this space of knowing this is what's important to me. And I'm going to pour all of my time, my effort, my energy into this. It's not opting out per se of, maybe I no longer want to have a seat at the PTA, or I no longer want to work this corporate job. And it's seen as quitting. And yet it's not quitting. You're opting out because you don't want your energy put into whatever that is. As they say, energy flows where your attention goes. I think that's the saying. I probably just messed that one up. But it's no longer something where you don't care about what people think. We always care about what others think. That's an innate thing that we have in ourselves. Of course, we care what somebody thinks. I've heard also that, it's nobody's business what somebody thinks of you. And that's because it's really a reflection on them. And I do believe that, but I don't think that us not caring about what someone thinks of us is actually going to do something positive. It's that we take it in. When someone doesn't like you, you think about it. Why doesn't that person like me? What have I done to make someone not like me or not like something that I've posted or said? Uh, but yet it's also a moment for us to say, wait, I did that because this is what I believe in. I think that we have to become selective with our energy. I had my pulmonary embolism years ago, and I often say that I was saying yes to everything. And then it became a season of saying no to a lot of things. I quit a lot of volunteer things because I became selective with my energy. I only have so many hours in the day, just like everybody else. There was somewhere, I believe it was some reference to Beyonce of how does she manage to do so much? And she says, I only have the 24 hours. But yet a lot of people have help within those 24 hours. If we don't have help, like myself, what do we want to spend our time on? What is important to us? Where is it that we want to focus that energy? And it's not that we don't care about all of those other things. It's not that I don't care about, volunteering in the classroom or my children or the school. It was, where can my time be best spent in order to get the maximum benefit, but also focus on what's important to me. So one of them would be family time over a clean house, right? Yes, I still do the laundry. I vacuum, but you know what, some of that stuff gets pushed aside because I'd rather sit on the couch with my kids and play apples to apples or beat the parents, which is not a great game in our house. It always ends up in tears because the parents always win. But I'd rather do these things with my family than be worried about if my kitchen is clean. We took a wonderful bike ride last weekend and it was so much fun. My bike is totally rusted over. I probably need a new one, but I got on my beach cruiser and we just biked for like miles. And it was a great time. I didn't worry about the fact that there was laundry that needed to be folded at home. It was still going to be there. But seeing the smiles on my kids' faces, that's what was important to me and continues to be important to me. Let's talk about activism over approval. I have become very vocal, and I know that some people probably don't like that. And that's okay. It's not a matter of me not caring that they don't like it, but it's a matter of me focusing on issues that are important to me. And I would rather take a stand and be an activist and try to make change and protect people even if it doesn't apply to me, then I care about getting someone's approval. Then I care about someone liking me. It goes back to, people who say, well, I've always respected your political opinions. Yes, you have, because I stand for everybody. And I would rather focus on that than worry about if I have your approval of how I'm registered or whatever it is, or what kind of content I'm putting out. I would rather spend time using my voice to help others who don't have a voice. And that's the kind of selective energy that I'm going to show up with and continue fighting for. I talked about having a pulmonary embolism. I've been focusing really hard over 2 years now on my health versus hustling, health over hustle. I would rather take a walk than really worry about what's next. What can I do? And it doesn't mean that I don't worry about that. I'm constantly working. I am constantly looking at what can I do to grow my business? What can I do to be a better advocate and activist? What else can I do? But at the same time, I'm also reflecting on if I can't be healthy, if my body is not healthy, then I won't be here in order to activate, in order to grow a business, in order to use my voice. And so health needs to be prioritized for me. I think health should be prioritized for everybody. But for me, especially because I did have that brush with death, quite literally, it's important that I am healthy in physically, emotionally, mentally, and I take time for all of that. I have a therapy appointment that gets put on the calendar months in advance because that's a priority to me. I make sure that I am seeing all of the doctors that I need to regularly because that's a priority to me. So prioritizing and putting my energy into my health versus being busy all the time for the sake of being busy is not what I'm going to focus on. I think that also a big one with social media is having integrity over Instagram. Where is the integrity gone? I see it literally every single day when I log on and start the scroll of who's showing up to simply show up versus who's showing up because they have something to say. They want better in this world. Where's the integrity? Where have our morals and our values in a world of misinformation and disinformation? Are you prioritizing your integrity over simply posting and making it look like there's a perfect life? We look at the trad wives, or the ones who post that life is so beautiful and I have a wonderful backyard and I just am frolicking with the daisies all day long. It's not true. I don't know anybody who actually lives that life. So to put it on Instagram, it's bullshit. It's not being a person who shows up exactly how they are, showing up with integrity to show that this is who I am, flaws and all. That's much more of value to me as a human being, as a friend, as a follower, than showing up to have something that looks aesthetically pleasing and fake, because filters, all of the stuff to make it look like it's real and true, and yet it's not. Because I'd rather have somebody come over to my house right this very moment and see the mess that I have and not be surprised than to have a perfect Instagram and then that person shows up and is like, wow, that's so not what I'm seeing on Instagram. So cool. And I've seen that. I've personally seen that. I've had relationships with big influencers who have like drunk dialed me with, we're having margaritas, what's going on? And then the next day there's a post saying, I haven't drank in 30 days and this is the sober life. And it's bullshit. I don't want that in my life. I don't want that in my feed. And I think that we have to show up exactly as we are to build those connections, to really be who we are. And it's messy and it can be no fun, but it's the truth and it's life and it's who we are. And I feel that recognizing all of this, finding this clarity, it's often seen as a rebellion because we're saying, it's not, I hate that we're saying, I don't care, because we really do care. We care so freaking much that this is how we choose to show up, to put our energy in. And it's seen as an act of rebellion to say, I don't care that you don't you don't align with me per se in whatever my posts are. So it's rebellious of me to use my voice, to stand up, to say this is not right. And yet it's not being rebellious. It's being true to who we are. So I ask you, what is it that you truly care about? Because I don't believe that there's any single one of us that doesn't care. We care. We care deeply. And I think that we're finding our way in figuring out what it is we care about. And we're making our mark in the world at this point with what we care about, with where we want our energy to go. And we're being selective in it because we know there's only so much time that we have in this life, on this planet, with each other. And we need to figure out what impact we want to make. How can we change the world? How can we leave this world a better place than when we came into it? Those are my deep thoughts for this week. But I truly do believe that we care, because I care. I know that you care. And it's not that we don't care anymore. It's that we care a lot.